Okay, so we've been talking about GD&T as far as what it is, the basics of it really. How does it apply to a part, a model, and how we display that on a drawing. So today we're going to look at how to put that into our parts and our models in NX. So how do we go from knowing that we want to use GD&T to actually applying that to our parts? We are going to be using PMI in NX to add the GD&T to the model itself. PMI is the product and manufacturing information. Unlike the drawing where it's kind of a separate thing, the PMI they're permanently attached to the model itself. But we're going to take that, we're going to add PMI to our model and then turn that into a drawing similar to the one that's on the screen. This is what we're going to be basing ours off of, but we're going to do the drawings that we have been doing this semester. But this is what we're going to be starting with. This is where we're going to be basing everything off of. The model itself is on Canvas, so you can go ahead and download that and open it up in NX. Be sure to go to Roll Advanced still. And this is our model that we're going to be adding our GD&T to, really our PMI to, and then converting that into our drawing. We're going to be using these model views, sort of like how we used them in the exploded views. But we're not going to create a new view. We're just going to be using these to do our PMI inside some of these views. That way when we do our drawing, they are already associated to those views. To access the PMI functions, PMI commands, you need to have the PMI tab up here. If you don't, right click and make sure that you have PMI selected. Okay, so yours probably looks something like this. If you right click and then go to PMI, then you have access to all the PMI functions. And we're going to start adding to our views. So we need to make the correct view our work view. We're going to be working in the top view and in the right view. So I want to go ahead and start off by putting in our A datum right here, our datum plane. Just because it's the only one in that view, and so I don't forget about it later. So we're gonna be in the right view. So I'm gonna double click on the right view over here, make that our work view. And I'm leaving the sketch in right now because I'm using that as my just visual reference. When we do our top view, so it's the opposite view or the opposite face as our sketch. This is gonna be our top view. So I know that the right view, this is the plane that I want to be referencing. So that's just for me. So I want to add that datum plane to the right side view. And then I'm going to go to datum feature symbol. I want to make sure that we are creating the letter A. So on here we have under the origin, specify location. We have orientation where we are able to select the plane. This is where talking about the plane that it's in. So the position, not the plane that it's referencing. This is the position. So the plane that's selected right now is the one that we want. If it wasn't, we could specify the plane that we wanted. We could specify, you see how it's changing the orientation. We're looking at the view here. If you don't want to specify the plane, you can change the planes this way. So this is just going to alternate through a bunch of planes until you find the one that you want. And I'm just going to click up here. And you can see that's moved on to adding another feature. That's okay. We're not done with the A yet. I like to just go ahead and specify the location and then close out of this and then go back in and edit. it makes the process simpler to me, because now we need to choose where, we've put the feature on there. Now we need to tell it what it actually is, the A. So what am I referencing here? That's going to be the terminating object. So I'm going to select the terminating object, and I'm just going to choose this top face. So that's what datum A is. It's that top face. If we needed to change the location, we could. So something to be kind of mindful of is whenever we go to do our drafting, we won't be able to move where the symbol is. We can move the A a little bit, or as far as like the up and down, how far it is from the part, but we won't be able to change where the actual point is at on the feature. So just something to be aware of. Not a big deal for us here. That location is fine, and we can just go ahead and say okay. And that's what we're looking for there. And remember, this is like the exploded view. So right now I'm in the right view. If I were to go to the left view, that datum A is gone. That is only associated to our right view. Okay, so just be mindful of that. And now we can go ahead and jump into the rest of our PMI. And that is going to be in the top view. So sometimes I do like to put it at an angle so I can see the detail a little bit better. So I just want to make sure that we have the top view as our work view. You don't have to be in this view right here. Just make sure that the top view is your work view, and you can angle this around, and that's fine. So we want to be putting in as our basic dimensions, our whole call outs here, and then our tolerances. We have a position tolerance profile. So let's go ahead and start adding some of this in. I'm going to start off with these center lines here, and then I'll start going into the basic dimensions, and then we can move on to some of our feature control frames. So to add in our center lines, we will come up to the supplemental geometry, and we'll go to center mark. And I'll do all the holes, and then I'll do the connected center lines to all of them. We do want to be careful here. It can be kind of easy to put it on the back plane. We want everything to be on this top surface here. And I'll do to create multiple center marks, and I'll be able to go through and add a bunch of them at the same time. Again, we want to make sure that they're all on that top face, not on the bottom. I'll hit apply. Now I want to go through and add the ones that are going from all these, the hole to hole center lines. Oop, I've got created center mark still turned on. Apply. Again, I want to make sure they're all on this top face. Now I'll go in and do the basic dimensions. So I'll just go through and do the 75, 75, the 8, the R10, R12. So we can either go into a rapid or a linear. We'll probably move over to the radial to do the radii over here. You just go to rapid. And again, be careful how you're dimensioning these. So let's see if I can get it to put one on the back plane here. So it's choosing the wrong plane that it's putting it on. So just be cautious of that stuff. You can either start over, or you can just switch the plane. So we can specify the plane that we want. I want this plane here. It's going to tell me conflicts with selected geometry. Sometimes it's better to just cancel out and try again. So the best thing to do is I want to choose the center marks that we've created. That's why we created those first. That'll put us in the correct plane and choosing the right points. So these are basic dimensions. So we've got the 75. I want to turn on the basic dimension. So I'll come up to the tolerance and I'll tell it that it's a basic, and it'll put the box around it. I'm going to go and do this other 75 here as well. Not too concerned about where I'm placing it as far as distance, just somewhere around here. And then I'll come over to the other side. We've got the 8mm going from the center line to the edge of our part. This one can be kind of tricky to do. Sometimes you get, I'll get a wrong value. Try to get the line. Sometimes if you get the face, it wants to go to the bottom line. So try to get that top edge right there. And I'm going to switch over to the radial to get these two radii here. So we've got R10. Again, this is a basic. I'll worry about positioning in a second, and then get this other radius here. Before I forget, I'm going to change this so that the arrow is pointing in like so. Let's double click on this. And then I'm going to come up to this point. The arrow line is. I'm just going to click on it. And I'm going to change it so that it's pointing from the outside in. Just close out of that. And I'm going to go ahead and go through and add there's 4 of these. 8 of these. And 4 of these features. Try to get the arrows pointed straight towards the center. Anything over here, I'll probably adjust this later on when everything is done. And now we can do our holes. So this is the first hole that we are going to dimension. Before we do, though, we need to turn on show trailing zeros. So we're going to go to menu, preferences, PMI. We'll go to dimension, text, and then units. And then we want to turn on show trailing zeros, and we'll hit OK. Now we can come in and do a radial. I'm going to select the edge of the extrude here. And I'm just going to click to put it down. And then I can go in and edit it. Now we have a tolerance, it's called out. It's 8mm to 8.1. So we don't have like a bilateral or anything like that. We just have a tolerance that's specified here. So we're going to go to tolerance, and we want a y minus x limit. And it automatically puts a 0.1, a minus 0.1 and a plus 0.1 to get us in that range. But we don't want the minus 0.1. We want a 0 to a positive 0.1 millimeter. So we've got 8.0 to an 8.1 millimeter. And while we're here, we'll go ahead and put our 2x because there are 2 of these holes. And that would be good. And I'm going to go ahead and throw our control frame on here. So we've got a feature control frame. Attach it to the hole tolerance right there. It will hit OK. And then we can go in and edit this. So we have a position tolerance. So right now it's a straightness tolerance. We need to come over and do a position tolerance. And we have a diameter. That diameter is 0.3. And it is at MMC. And the datum that we are referencing is A. And we can go ahead and hit OK. Now we've got a position tolerance of the diameter of 0.3 millimeters at MMC, referencing datum A. And what we want to do is create a datum feature call out of this tolerance control frame. And so we'll come up here to our datum feature symbol. We want B, like it said. And again, same thing that we did before. Want to make sure that we have the right plane. So if I just click right here, then it's going to be referencing that back plane. Don't want that. So I'm going to specify the plane. Want the top plane. And we can go ahead and specify the terminating object. That is our feature control frame. And we can just position it anywhere. Now we have a datum callout referencing that feature control frame. So we've got another hole that we are dimensioning and then tolerancing over here. That's going to be for all 4 of the larger holes. So the process is pretty much the same. We're going to go to radial. We want another y minus x limit. Our limit is 0 to 0.1 millimeters. And we have 4 of these. Do 4. And then just go ahead and position it. And we have a feature control frame that is associated with this call out. Make sure that we're on the right plane. Yep. And now we can go in and edit this. This is a position with a diameter of 0.5, a little bit more generous than the other one. This is at MMC. And we are referencing datum A and datum B at MMC. Hit OK. And then we have a profile tolerance that's specified as well. So we can come up and create another feature control frame. This one's a little bit trickier to do. But first we're going to specify the plane. And then the terminating object. I want to make sure that we have point on a curve turned on. And then I find it helpful to turn off point on face. So point on a curve turned on, point on face turned off. Because what we want to do is we want to come in here and just select somewhere on this line. So you're like right there. And then come down at an angle and just go ahead and click to position that control frame. So now we're on the right plane and we're referencing just somewhere along that line. We'll hit OK. Come back in and edit this. So this is a profile tolerance. Got 1 millimeter. And we're referencing datum A and B, while B is at MMC. We'll say OK. And now we can move this around and position it where we want to. And now I'm just going to do some tidying up, similar to how we would do on our drawings. All right, that looks good to me. So before we go to our drawing, let's go ahead and put everything on the layer. So the sketches and the datums, go ahead and do that. Turn those layers off, and now we can go to our drafting application. We want to create an A3. You can fill out all the title block information. And we want to add a top view. And then move over and we'll make a projected view of our right view. Now clearly our PMI is not turned on. And what we want to do is go to the settings for our top view, and we'll go to PMI. And so we want to go, right now PMI is none. We'll go to from model view and hit apply. Now we can see our PMI is on our view. And we'll hit OK. And then go over to our right side view, do the same thing. PMI. Except now we want to go to align to drawing entire part. Show PMI on drawing, and we'll hit OK. And now you can see we have our A datum right here and all the other information. So we can move this around here if we need to. I find it easier to do it in the PMI itself rather than doing it here, but you can if you need to. And of course, move things around, organize them. Over here, we want to show our hidden lines. We can add our title note. And for this assignment, that should be fine. So go ahead and print this out as a PDF and name it according to what's on Canvas, and go ahead and turn that in to the Dropbox on Canvas. And that'll be it.